When talking about the truth of existence, Babaji has said the clue is in our mind. Could Babaji explain how this mind, which it seems to be a bundle of thoughts and imaginations, how it's a clue to who we really are?
When thoughts and visions are there in the mind, we call that as mind. And thus, some sages, Maharishi Ramana has said, mind is a bundle of thoughts, is very true. As long as it is mind, it is a bundle of thoughts. Now, in my opinion, hardly anybody would bother to know what the mind itself is. Everybody is aware they have a mind. They talk about the mind. I have the mind, my mind wants to do this. But don't bother much about what that mind is made up of and what it is. One thing is, mind is made up of consciousness and energy. This is the combination. Consciousness, wherever you apply your mind or your consciousness, either way, you become aware of that. So just now, this consciousness is applied to its own imaginations. Thus, it is unaware of itself. It's unable to pay attention or observe or be aware of itself. So it is totally aware of what it is imagining. So preoccupied it is. Thus, we don't get an idea of who we are. This is what some great self-realized masters have always advocated, to inquire and to know the self, who we are, who am I, this type of things. I have told another thing also, amongst millions of thoughts in your mind, even now also, while those thoughts are there, if you try to bother to feel yourself a little bit, or in other words, I would say, there is one thing in the mind or which is coming from the mind, or the mind is the source, which is not an imagined thought but a reality, a truth of existence, is the consciousness of existence. This is what I have called. Just like you always feel that you exist, but just now, because the consciousness is shifted and busy, preoccupied with imaginations, so you are unable to observe from where it is arising. And it is also so much sucked into the brain's reflections, so one would think themselves as the body, a personality, a status like that. More than that, hardly anybody bother. So that is what the important thing is. This mind is actually nothing but you. That is, it is from where the I feeling is coming. Your consciousness of existence is there. A basic idea of the meditation is to obtain awareness of that. You can shift your consciousness. So first you get rid of the thoughts and visions of the mind. When you are just watching and you are not getting involved, so they all dissolve or evaporate or disappear, whatever you want to call. Then your attention automatically, the mind's attention turns to itself. By then it would have become regained the purest form of consciousness. That's what it is. So that is when it will turn to itself. Then you will also notice it is the mind itself, which we were thinking as the mind and the consciousness, anything, is from where that I is arising. Thus, when you observe totally, so then hitherto whatever was functioning as the mind gets absorbed into that.
Thank you.
That's what the mind and tapas is recommended to do. This is the purpose.
Thank you, Babaji. So, Baba, you've said before that only the mind can catch its existence. We can never externally find uh, the truth of existence.
Yeah, today I would say one thing all of you observe, there are so many myths. When one closes the eyes, meditating means many people tend to think that they are meditating on something else, on somebody else. This is definitely not possible, in my opinion. Actually, the mind meditates on itself. That's when you regain the consciousness of yourself, or you come to know about yourself, or you become one with the self. All these things happen, and that is the purpose also. Anything else that a person imagines that I am meditating on such and such a thing is only born out of the mind's creation.
Thank you, Babaji. So, Babaji, if your attention is away from the thoughts, is it automatically onto the self? So you don't have to try to find this self that we are. We simply ignore the thoughts and automatically it will happen. Is that right, Babaji?
Yes, because that itself is the self. So it doesn't have to search or turn or go anywhere. It simply has to give up its attention to its imaginations, and it is there in itself. This is what will happen. So entire sadhana, tapas, endurance, or whatever you have to practice is so that you don't get involved with the imaginations of the mind. The mind shall not get involved with its own imaginations. So then it can become quiet. When it is quiet, it is in itself, and that itself is the truth.
Thank you, Babaji. So, Baba, by ignoring the thoughts simply disappear. If our attention is not on the thoughts, they just simply can't exist.
Yes, that is the idea of asking you to just keep watching technique in the meditation. You won't be asked to watch anything else. Just keep watching, but further nothing is said what you have to watch. So thus, if you are just watching means you are keeping quiet mentally, you are keeping your mind quiet. That's what it means. So when you don't get involved with the thoughts will disappear. The thought is there as long as you get involved with that one. I have told before also, when the mind thinks, a thought appears, watching that thought, mind forgets this thought is there because of my imagination. Instead, it gets involved with the thought as if the thought is a reality, fundamental reality, and thus ends up creating another thought. Like that, another thought, thought after thought, thought after thought. Hundreds, thousands, and millions of thoughts kept coming, and then we lose connection. We get confused and we lose our path. We don't know what is happening. We forget that it is there is a reason that so many thousands of thoughts are there. Simply we have to become quiet. Then we are there. So instead we keep wondering how to get rid of these thoughts when there is stress. Stress for a person, he is so bewildered and he searches for peace. Everywhere he searches. Then finally we tell that peace is within. You have to become peaceful and you are peace. You have the peace.
Thank you, Babaji. Baba, you said that if you stop the mind, you don't disappear. So the thoughts and imaginations, that they are not who we are at all. They're not a part of our existence.
Yes, it is thoughts and visions are our imagination, not we. So when we have imagined a certain thing, temporarily that would have come out of us due to imagination, but not a part of reality of our existence. So simply we give up our involvement with the thoughts. This involvement with the thoughts happens recognizing a thought, analyzing and making a judgment. Like this is good, this is bad, why not this, I was supposed to do that one, that was supposed to happen, this is not happening, why, if anything happens, what? This type of thought after thought keeps coming. That's what gives us stress also. That needs to be stopped. If we don't get involved, if we don't recognize at all, if we don't analyze, if we do not recognize, we won't analyze. Like for example, I have told this world, this universe is there, suppose. It is there or not there, that is afterwards. But first, for example, you call this universe as very good world, then you mentally get involved. You call this world as very bad, then also you get involved. Either way, because of your imagination, in imagination you get involved. I repeat, because of your imagination, in your imagination you get involved. So thus you get carried away with that one, thus further creating further imaginations about that. So then you forget that you are there. You keep wondering. So you become quiet, don't get involved. All thoughts and visions all disappear, but you cannot make yourself disappear. That consciousness of existence, that I, is always there. You just watch, you just become quiet. Still, that I will not disappear. Whereas other thought and visions disappears when you don't get involved.
Thank you, Babaji. So, Baba, we need to go internal instead
That's
of.
what known as going introvert means, going into ourselves, having an insight into the truth of ourselves. So for that we have to look into ourselves, pay attention to ourselves. So many terminologies have been used by different teachers probably. So once we understand the basic idea, there is no confusion at all actually. So this is what it is. We have to pay attention to ourselves. Then we will realize we are there. We will realize that we as that. Hitherto, what we were thinking about ourselves as our mind is nothing but we ourselves. As long as thought and visions are there, we call it my mind, my mind. What is me and my mind? There is no 10 kilometers of distance between me and my mind. My mind also is within me. When I am thinking, when I am imagining, simply I try to call myself as my mind, and I have forgotten what I am. So if we stop this one, that you are there. This is what is required. This may not be as easy as we talk, of course, for this is only a practice of meditation and trying to understand, inquiring, discriminating what the truth about ourselves is, and then a tapas also. Tapas is, so you have to burn all other habits which is keeping you away from yourself. That is the imagination of thoughts and visions. Burning of that is what is known as tapas. Once you burn, so then you are there. You achieve the stillness. Hitherto what you have been spinning and dancing like a monkey, you become quiet. So to becoming quiet is what you do tapas.
Thank you, Babaji. Baba, before you've explained how a small portion of the self has come out and has got involved and sucked into the brain. So could Babaji talk about this? Because the self is all pervaded. This pure consciousness of existence is all pervaded. However, we feel localized in our brain. Our consciousness is just here. Uh, could Baba explain how the portion can come out like that?
Now, try to understand, pay attention. You are watching a movie on the screen and you are sitting on a chair. Your consciousness slowly gets sucked into the movie. Means as you go on watching, you become obsessed with the movie, and that movie appears to be solid and real. Means anything that is happening in the movie, a good or a bad, a stress, happiness or unhappiness, any trouble, anything would appear to be happening to you because you have gone into the movie unknown to you consciously. Whereas you are sitting on the chair also, you are watching also, but you are imagining that you are there and you start feeling that you are there. Thus you experience all the things happening as if it is happening to you. When this is happening to you, you are watching, but slowly as you become more obsessed, you are watching and you are agonized. Both are there. You are watching and you are into trouble. You are watching and you are into happiness. You are watching and you are into unhappiness. So if this gains strength, that unhappiness, that happiness magnifies and appears to be real. You forget that you are watching also. You don't bother to see into the fact of I am watching, who is that I also. You forget. And that becomes, you become preoccupied with all your happiness, unhappiness, fear, stress, everything. So that is how the same consciousness is here, but its portion has gone into the movie. But that portion which has gone into the movie starts appearing as real because the potency is increasing slowly when you become so obsessed with the movie. So like that only it has happened. We don't know when we imagined or who imagined about this universe or when did it come into existence. We don't know anything for a while. Forget about it. But one thing is certain, our consciousness is so sucked into this world. We are watching also. We are experiencing a happiness, unhappiness, stress, agony, fear, excitement, everything we are experiencing and we are watching that. If our obsession with the world becomes so much strong, we are unable to withdraw it back to that. We watch, but we don't realize we are watching also. We forget about that I who is watching. So like that, the portion, that's what we try to explain, a small microspec portion coming out of the ultimate self, the one single self that exists, and that which is undergoing all this. So just we have to stop this. Stopping the mind this is what it means. And knowing one's own self. This is why to begin with it is recommended to know yourself. Enquire who am I? That is how you start some puzzle. When you start thinking, seems to be some sense in this. Like I have told sometimes in my talks, because all the physical bodies are born in this world in a process of parents are there, then children are born, children get married, then children are born. We simply consider we are born because of my parents. I'm here because of my parents. More than that, we don't bother why I am here, who I am. But instead of this process, suppose some either on your own or somebody had made you to appear in the space where nothing else existed. No world, no universe, no sun, no moon, but made you to appear with the body. Then you would have definitely wondered, who am I? How did I come into existence like this? Who made me to come like this in the body or whatever it is? Then you would have wondered. Then you would have shouted, bewildered. So that is how the illusion has happened. Now we don't bother, we never are bewildered as to who am I. Well, I'm born because of my parents were there. And that's it. More than that, that is the immediate or the nearest cause. And we never try to know the root cause of how we came into existence, what it is. So this is how inquiry, and then you become motivated. Obsession with inquiry. Obsession means you become restless until you don't know what it is, what the truth is. Like Buddha became restless until he couldn't know that one. So that is how inquiry, then sadhana, by the grace and guidance of the Guru, you become motivated, inspired. You go for that. When you understand this, then you understand the need also, how important for us to know about ourselves. If a person is wandering in this world, doesn't know who his parents are, he would be wondered all the time. To whom was I born? Who was my father? Who was my mother? Like that we wonder, right? Sometimes we watch in the movies stories also. So like that, when we come to know about this truth first, who am I, is how essential to inquire and to know, then we understand who is that source of mine, who is that mother, that ultimate truth of mine, from where I have come. Have I come from there? Am I there? What is that truth of the self? So that's how you try to go. So this is the essence of spiritual teaching. Giving up this, we get deviated, distracted to 100 million things of myths and bits. Except this, we try to bother everything else. But this is what the masters, gurus need to teach actually, if they have realized the self. Otherwise, they themselves will end up talking myths and stories and stories and stories only. This is the real story we all need to know.
Thank you, Babaji. Baba, dhyana meditation, Baba is described as being your attention to, defined in that way. Could we, Babaji, talk a bit more about attention? And people's attention these days is very distracted. We can't keep it on one thing for very long. Could Babaji explain the importance of being able to keep your attention focused continuously?
See, if it is a new thing to start, it's not very difficult to teach. To teach a child, for example, which is innocent, which is not yet exposed to the imagination much or the outside world, to teach it is easy. But once that mind becomes engulfed with the brain's reflections and gets so much corrupted, means loses its direction, to bring it back to put on a right direction, how difficult for a master it can be to make people understand. That's what we struggle to make people understand. This is what you need to know. This is the purpose of meditation. Many times, many people come again and again, want deviate from that one and try to know, is this is the one, is this is the one, am I supposed to do, what am I supposed to do? To tell ki, no, this is the myths, don't bother about this thing. 100 times we talk and somebody again comes ki, somebody tells ki when we die, our body is being carried, that we can hear what people are talking, is this is possible. Well, this is not at all interesting. Enough of this baby stuff, Shaolin. Learn to listen to the truth. There is a much higher thing of the university level. So try to bother about yourself, who you really are. So it becomes so difficult when the mind becomes so corrupted with these millions and millions of myths. And in the midst we have, with due respect to all masters, I don't criticize any particular person, there can be so many such teachers who induce further myths. Already people are bothered about myths and imaginations, so they try to feed more myths and more myths and more myths instead of this truth. That's why we say that once in ages, few real masters come who spoke about the self, who talk about the self, or whatever it is. During their lifetime, few people get to see them, listen to them, understand them.
Thank you, Baba. Baba, connected to what Baba's talking about, the last quote that Babaji sent on WhatsApp: meditation, self-realization, all complicated, can be simple if you are wise. By holding unnecessary habits and garbage in the mind, you are likely to make simple things complex.
Simple. You are the one who is imagining. You have to stop your imaginations. You have to become peaceful. You have peace, and it is you who have lost your own awareness. How can that be? Simply because we have allowed our mind to become so busy with such imaginations other than our real self. So it has not bothered even once to know who we really are, how we have become like this, what is our real status of existence at all. When world is so bothered with conflicts, with fights, with politics, with this and that and livelihood, wanting to earn, and everybody is so bothered. The illusion has become so much. Nobody has time to think about it, and nobody has time to listen if we want to talk. So anywhere else, only few people who are really interested, then if I talk, they might listen for a while at least. Otherwise, it will be like I keep talking to the walls. And that's what happens. So everybody is so busy. Majority is in this world. How many millions are there? If you understand, you would wonder, my God, why nobody wants to listen to Babaji? Why we are only few people? So that is the illusion they have created for themselves. And that trivial thing for us is becoming so important for them. They have to bang their head for that. They are ready to kill each other because such an imagination has become so important to them. They have no time to think about themselves. So once you realize this one, all conflict ends. You become Buddha and you become peaceful, you become contented and quiet. There is nothing else that you have to achieve.
Thanks, Babaji. Baba, so a certain amount of efforts first are required to make the mind quiet. Only then they can see that the benefit of a quiet and peaceful mind. But until then, they're more interested in the imagination.
Yeah. Until then, the mind always imagines because of this material thing or some eatable item that I'm getting happiness also. They have to realize simply whenever I get an eatable item or some material wealth, at that time when my mind becomes quiet, then only actually I enjoy. If a certain thing so dearer to me, and you may not be liking that one, the same thing which can make me happiness, why is that cannot make you happy? It is not in the things. That's how we all diagnose, right? If a certain machinery is wrong, we try to put different things, and when nothing is working, so something inside is corrupted, we try to think. So that is what it is. The same thing which is giving me happiness, why is that it is not giving you happiness? But because it is not in that thing, I am becoming quiet on eating that. You are unable to become quiet. You are unable to accept it. That's why you are not happy. So now we understand the technology. If we both can become quiet on our own, without the help of any of these external things, then we both can be peaceful. At all times we will have that peace. This is what we have to realize. So while answering this type of questions, while talking for all participants, I'm not talking anything about against your life on this earth, please. Spirituality never prohibits you to live in this world and live any way of life that you would have adopted. Never think like that one. Simply what is needed is understand the impermanence of this universe and try to inquire about yourself. How do I exist? Who am I? All these things. While you are alive in this world, you carry on with your way of life. Don't have to give up your house, don't have to give up your business, nothing. You don't have to give up anything. This is what I would like to issue a disclaimer type.
Thank you so much, Babaji. Baba, there's a couple of questions that have come in chat, and then after that, could we open up also?
Yeah, okay, we can take.
So first one, Babaji, Namaskar, Babaji. If knowledge and experience are required to realize truth or self, then how can one gain knowledge without creating mental constructs and reinforce the ego? Thank you.
You say you need to reach a certain city. You need to get up, travel, go and reach that city. And instead, you don't travel, you are sitting here, you want to read about that city, which is the first knowledge. When you reach that city, you gain the first hand knowledge. When you read a book, you gain the knowledge of only what somebody else has written about that. They would have written from their perspective. You go and see that city to yourself, then you will know what the truth is. So that is how this is. Simply creating intellectually, you will end up imagining about the self in your own imagination way. But the truth might be something else. So instead of this, you undertake a practical exercise and try to become aware of that truth. And then you tell me what that truth is. Then you tally with the book also. So then you tell me which one is the real knowledge and wisdom. You reach the city or you just read about the city. So in the same way, you become one with the self or you read about the self what somebody else has written. Somebody else has written, if you meditate, you can levitate. Somebody else has written, if you meditate, you can produce a chain. So you try to do that one. If you get into that one, You meditate for the next 50 years and try to see if you can produce a chain, or if you can levitate, or if you can fly at 38,000 feet, or you just need few $100, what it is. The practical knowledge is totally different from the knowledge of second hand. By telling this, I am not de-recommending you from reading the books. You need to read. We ourselves have produced books. My talks have been transcribed and has been brought as a book. My question answer sessions have been brought out as books, and I have written commentaries to simplify the language of some masters' great teachings like Ashtavakra, Vivekachudamani of Adi Shankara, Guru Gita, all these things. These books can be very important. We also read a little. When you read it, you shall feel motivated, you shall feel inspired, and you will get an idea of what you are supposed to do. That is why I always tell, when people buy book and come for my autograph, I tell, every day read few pages. Don't be in a competition that I have read that book 100 times. That is not important. How much concentrated you could read that book is important, so that the real meaning, in which context that has been told, can enter your mind. So read like that on few pages. Then practice also. I have always told you, see, you read how to bake a bread, no problem. Then go on baking also. Just by reading you cannot bake a bread. But reading how to bake is also necessary when you want to learn how to bake a bread. So both have its own importance in such places, but you have to do such things. Then the things will get baked.
Thank you, Babaji. One more question in chat from Milind Naik. If this is all imagination, what is our body? Is everyone else in this world imagination?
Everything is actually in imagination, but it would be very difficult to. Imagination means I don't know what is your criteria. Now just listen. Everything in the world, including your own body, any terminologies that we are using, this is body, this is man, this is woman, this is earth, this is planet, that is this, is all imagined terminologies we have adopted for sake of our communication and understanding in this world. But nobody knows what the truth of this universe or this is. If first time you had happened to see that one, so now astronomers suddenly discover a certain thing appearing. So they will call it an exoplanet has appeared, and they will give a number so that they can use it for communication. So thus they have imagined. But when the thing that has appeared, nobody knows what it is. That is apple, because we all have imagined as apple. Try to think about this if you can understand. So this is what it is. If you do not, if it is difficult for you to understand also, just now do not bother. Just practice meditation. In due course of time, when your mind gains the ability, becomes more purified, then you will be able to understand this.
Thank you, Babaji. That's the end of the questions in chat, Baba. So if we can open up to participants now.
Yeah, we are opening up. Please ask sensible questions that is connected to these topics. You are welcome. One by one you come.
Yes, Pranam Babaji. Babaji, I would like to ask, if micromanagement is not done by God, okay, then at the same time, positive mental attitude is encouraged, like you said, whatever one desires with deep and strong passion, the whole universe designs to present that thing to the person. Then who gives that? Who gives us that thing to us or that person when micromanagement is not done by God?
So just now you try to become a good person so that you can try to influence the other bad person also to become good person. Whoever is doing it is their headache. It is the whoever is doing, because they are playing, the higher consciousness is playing good and bad. If you have two children, if they two are fighting, you won't be able to discriminate who is good and who is bad, because both are your children. You would be wondering. You would simply would like to tell ke both are immature, that's why they are fighting. They both are very good because they are your children.
Yes, yes, Babaji. What is the importance of darshan and its darshana, like we go to temple, and darshan and its gain or futility of having a darshan?
See, darshan is when you go to a temple, when you go to a saint, when you have the imagination that it is the divine, then you will be benefited. You will mind become more purified. So for that purpose, so that it can generate a better imagination. If at all there has to be an imagination, let there be an imagination of the divine. So that is the idea of darshan, or going to any pilgrimage places which can inspire you to have good thoughts.
Babaji, it's so nice to see you again. Babaji, you always describe the first way of entering this practice is knowing that this world is impermanent. And then there was another connected teaching, which is the appearance value of this world. All of it is imagination and appearance. My question is that it feels the nature of a thought is impermanent, so it has to end. Why does it have enough power to stay for this long? It by the nature of it, by Babaji's sattvic nature, it appears that Babaji doesn't have enough power to sustain a thought. Why does it sustains for, let's say, everyone else for so long?
They are analyzing, means they are trying to define what that thought is. Thus, they get involved with the thought, like a good or a bad. This thought is there, this thought is not there. Then imaginations further increase, then make a judgment. This is a good and this is a bad. So, of this world only, making judgment makes the thought to sustain itself. That's how illusion increases. This illusion means, you see, when you make a judgment, you tend to firmly believe about that thought the way that you would have judged. That's why sometimes in my teaching we tell even Yoga Vasishtha talking, a friend might appear as a foe, foe might appear as a friend. That's because you are thinking like that one. So that thinking increases. That is why you sustain that thought also. That's how the illusion becomes many folds, and that thought never disappears. It is always, you are holding that thought. It's like you are holding the pillar and shouting, this pillar is not giving me up, this pillar is not giving me up. I come and tell you, just leave the pillar. Pillar won't do anything to you.
So, Babaji, but we have this much energy or we have this much power that we do such intense judgment on the thought. Why isn't the
Exactly.
supreme consciousness?
That energy is there, you see. Using this mind's power only in this universe, so much have been achieved. Discoveries and inventions, and every other day new things are coming. GPS was there and Google was there. Now AI is being discussed all over the world. This is all human inventions and discoveries. This is all based on the mind's concentration power. The power is there. But where you are spending, it matters. Use the same mind's power. Why we want you to concentrate it by becoming silently watching, so that when the mind becomes totally concentrated, it becomes the thrust power of a rocket power for the mind to go back to itself. Just now you are using your mind's power extroverted only about your own imaginations. So use that for self, watching the self. Then you will see. For that you have to give up all thoughts. That much of rocket power is required to get out of the Earth's atmosphere type. That type is required. So then you go back to yourself. And the same power is sustaining the thoughts also.
That means, Babaji, all of us has the same intensity as what the Supreme Consciousness has. We are just not aware of that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Babaji. So when you're trying to cultivate a deepening of your practice, going from meditating a few hours a day to longer periods, many other masters speak of renunciation, but you've advocated a more gentle approach that doesn't necessarily involve that. I know other people also speak about deeper initiations or transmissions or pilgrimages or selfless actions. I'm not sure, but how do you get in your approach from just to a deeper place of practice?
So if you practice this meditation deeper, this will take care of all pilgrimages, all renunciations. When you try and is able to get rid of the thoughts and imagination, more peace will descend. Once the peace descends, it becomes more tasteful. So you will automatically increase your practice. So that is what is more important. So on your own you can decide. We just tell that this world is impermanent, but leave it to the choice of the person what way of life a person wants to lead. Renunciation, they tell what is it that to be renounced. It is important that you renounce in the mind, not the way of life. Like, for example, my guru used to tell, many other masters also have told, it is not the house or your way of life that you have to sacrifice. And if you go to forests and caves, because you will be carrying your mind also. First, you need to take care of that mind. So that's why we advocate practice of meditation. And slowly, step by step, you increase. First, you understand the impermanence of the world, practice this meditation, and as it becomes more tasteful, so if you like, you can definitely visit any pilgrimage or remember any divine name also, and increase this meditation also. It's all will be there. As the student progresses, we can advocate more and more, seeing the ability and the interest of the student, we do that one.
Thank you, Babaji. And just following up on that, does this sort of sinking into longer hours of meditation, does it happen spontaneously as part of a gentler approach, or is it something that requires greater discipline?
It can happen automatically as a part of the gentle approach, because as you go on practicing, you become more tasteful. You would like to increase, it becomes easy for you. Without forcing yourself, in a gentle approach, politely, you will be able to increase with a free will on your own.
Thank you, Babaji.
Welcome.
Namaskar, Babaji.
Yes.
Babaji, if meditation slows our mind and our thoughts, would it make the person less intellectual, less joyous, and more serious? And will that person be socially withdrawn?
Not necessarily be. You will not lose the mind. Mind is always available to apply the brains very well. In a much more matured way, it will be possible. Because when you purify the mind through meditation, it will become more concentrated. So with that concentrated mind, you will be able to apply the brains and live a normal life or be an intellectual person also. In fact, your intellectuality will work much better. Applying the wisdom will happen, will be possible. You don't have to be withdrawn purpose. You can live in the world. So you don't have to withdraw from the world. Simply we teach that you need to understand the impermanence. Otherwise, wherever you want to work, whichever field, you can continue. It will be helpful.
Namaste, Babaji.
Yes, please.
Babaji, my question is very simple. All human beings are created by God, na? And someone like you attain the self-realization. Some gurus, some of us like us are born and die again and again. Why this happens to our kind of peoples? Why we can't achieve these things like
Ah,
you?
one important thing, God is not one single person who have thought about everybody and has done this. Every microspec consciousness by its own habits has come out of God. Unlike somebody has to work out, we all worked out since childhood. We worked out Purushartha, we put in efforts, we had that yearning, we want that truth. Like when we are teaching, if you also feel that yearning, that you want that truth, you understand the need and put in efforts, then God will definitely bless you. You will also be able to achieve. It is an individual's choice what you want to do. So if you want to achieve, it will be possible definitely. We will pray for you. Our
Babaji,
blessing.
Babaji, one more question.
Okay.
As a guru, you have to guide us. You have to take us that point. We are not. We are always distracted. It's
Okay,
a
okay.
it's your
I will guide you. Don't worry. You keep participating in these Zoom classes. You will always get my guidance also. I will pray for you. My blessings will be with you always. Huh? Wonderful. So wonderful. It was a very nice, beautiful questions came out today. And wait. I'll go back to gallery. Go back to gallery to say bye bye to you all.